And when I go last, it's always that everyone else has said many of the thoughts that I've had prior to, so I am one who doesn't like to repeat a lot of things, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. But I am going to say that I appreciate all the passion and engagement that we have seen in this room tonight, whether you spoke or whether you stood in the back or whether you're dealing with the heat of when we have so many bodies in this room, what that means even when it's not that warm outside. And I hope that you can continue to harness that. We mentioned it already tonight that there are a lot of things that happen at different levels of government that also affect us here locally. We can do all that we can here locally, but we also have some factors that happen that deal with us at the state level. And so that's certainly that we need help. We advocate, and I heard from Jill, I heard from Brady, I heard from all of you that you have dedication and there's a commitment to stay engaged, and I hope that's true. Because we can talk to our legislators and let them know how important it is, and I speak to them quite a bit. But it's your stories, it's what you have to say that I think really makes a difference. And
Well, I'm going to let you finish, but
I'm like, oh, let me.
For a vote, I'd like to ask a question.
I also want to say, though, that at the same time, we do face tough things. We face a tough budget, and this is, one way for us to allow for our administration and our superintendent to take some time to build some budget infrastructure that we desperately need to help us make the most efficient out of the classroom cuts so we can stay away from the classroom as much as we can. That doesn't mean that it won't happen. It also means that with efficiencies comes a bit of discomfort. And I would remind all of you who are here or who were in high school 2 years ago that when we changed the bell schedule, we heard from many, many people about how inconvenient that was. Well, that was this board's way of dealing with a budget that was difficult and trying to keep those cuts away from the classroom. So that was uncomfortable, it was inconvenient, but it kept things away from the classroom. And so those are the things that when I say things are going to be inconvenient or uncomfortable, that's the kind of things that sometimes, we have to make priorities. The same way as, I appreciate, Stephen, your offer to help. I will tell you that a school district's budget is quite complicated. It simply is not money in, money out. It is different streams of money that can only be used for different things. So when we talk about things like garbage trucks and other bins, they don't simply add to teachers. Those are different money streams that we can only use on equipment and building. So there are lots of things. It's a very complicated procedure, and I think our board, we are committed to keep working and to work with our superintendent on where we're going and provide some value and some philosophy about how we move forward, but there are going to be some uncomfortable times. Mike.
I just want